On today's podcast, we're going to teach you how to conquer your inner bitch. Tom DeGiuli joins me in studio on today's podcast. My man right over there.
Thank you for having me, Sean.
My pleasure, Tom. Remember, if you find what you listened to on today's episode valuable, go ahead, leave us that 5-star rating, write a review, share this with a friend. You don't want to hoard this stuff to yourself. Make sure it gets out there. Let's get you to the podcast. Tom DeGiuli, welcome to the Active Life Podcast, man.
Thank you for having me, man.
I'm excited to have you in studio. I like when I can get somebody local who I've been watching online come in and talk about stuff that I'm interested in and not an expert at.
Mm-hmm. And I'm 15 minutes from here, literally. It's not a far drive at all.
I know. Mm-hmm. My wife used to teach in Baldwin.
Cool. Awesome. It's a very small world.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you specialize in what you would call unconventional strength training. Mm-hmm. What makes unconventional strength training different than conventional strength training?
So when you talk conventional, right, it's mainly, in my opinion, like 90-95% of the fitness industry. Bench, squat, deadlift, going into a gym, curling weights, etc. Unconventional, you don't see it as often as you do anywhere, right? Back then in 2020, it kind of skyrocketed because the gyms closed from COVID and everybody started fucking around with kettlebells, sandbags. They had to figure it out. So with me, when I started with it, I fell in love with it because it was very challenging and it forced me to learn new things. And right now with my whole system of what I have in my gym, it's mainly all that, because you would walk into a gym, you're not going to see fucking two 20-pound kettlebells. People have never seen that before. Mm-hmm. And even with like the landmines, like you would never think that somebody could clean and press with one hand 4 or 3 plates on a landmine and press it over their head. So it's basically just like different modalities that I find interesting, and it was a lot of fun to do. And also it helped me with, myself, my explosiveness, my physique, but also it helped me build my business model so I can obviously make money and make a living. So it skyrocketed my life in every single direction.
Well, how did you stumble onto it? Like, so to give people kind of a picture of it, no one's going to walk into your spot and just start training if they haven't been taught how to do it. No. Would you agree with that?
Agree.
Okay. So they're going to find heavy ass sandbags, heavy kettlebells, landmine setups, chalk. Yeah. It's going to be a place where you come in, you bring intensity, you train hard, and you're going to use your body the way that you would use your body in I don't want to say a fist fight, but a fist fight, right? If you're doing farm work, if you're moving heavy shit around, that's what your kind of training really simulates. It simulates life in a way that I think is better than traditional training. How did you find it though? Because it's called unconventional because right now few people are doing it.
Mm-hmm. I found it when, so I was in EMT school in 2020 and I was still doing jiu-jitsu, still lifting regular weights, and then COVID happened and I had a couple kettlebells at home. So the gyms were closed, everything was fucked, and we didn't know what was going on. Of course, everybody has the same story. And once I started messing around with my 35 and 50-pound kettlebells, I'm like, this is cool. All right, I can do some snatches. I could do some clean and presses. I can jump over, I can jump over things. I could pick things up and carry them. Like, it's like what you said, like it's like farm work. It's like functionality of the body, like actually using your body to do certain things. Because even if you go into a gym with a barbell, bent over rows, bench, squat. But if you're put into a real life thing where you're kind of back against the wall, or you just have one piece of equipment, you have to adapt. You have to figure it the fuck out. And that's what everybody did. So honestly, I just went down the rabbit holes. I literally just went down the rabbit holes, YouTube, Instagram. I saw a bunch of people doing kettlebells, a bunch of people using sandbags. Alex Canellis, who started Landmine University from David Weck. I saw a couple of things with that they were messing around with. And I just started learning, just started studying because I wasn't doing anything else. So I just started buying stuff. Anything I saw that was available, I bought it. I put it on my credit card. Yep, I just got everything. Kettlebells, sandbags, everything. And then it got to the point where my parents wanted to kick me out. And then but it turned into a business. So when COVID happened, I just had to adapt. And I love working out. I love training. I love strength training. And I'm not able to deadlift and squat in my backyard and slam the weights. I had to just figure it out.
Right. So you figured it out by buying heavy sandbags, by buying chains, things of that nature?
Yeah.
How did you learn how to use them?
Trial and error. I think that's the best way anybody can learn anything, whether it's a sport or working out or even just like studying, like just trial and error. Even when I'm hitting a kettlebell clean, you know how many times people can clean and then they go like this. They go like this. The bell smacks them in the hand or the wrist. You have to learn over and over again. Me, I'm a quick learner for the most part, but it was really just like trial and error. Even when you're lifting up a sandbag, right? It's just squatting down, using your legs, back straight, getting it to your knees, getting your feet together. And also if you're tossing it or you're loading it to your shoulder, on the toes, glutes, that triple extension coming up, loading it up. Basically just trial and error. Like, have I ever like hurt myself doing it? No. I actually hurt myself in January, hex bar deadlifting, but I never hurt myself doing what I do now. But just trial and error. Over and over and over again. Repetition.
What I find fascinating, first of all, the reason why I had Alex Canellis on the podcast maybe like a year ago.
I love Alex. He's great.
Yeah, he's a big, corn-fed, strong-ass dude.
Yep.
So the reason why I liked having him on is I talk about training the way that you train, and people look at me and they're like, yeah, well, you're 165 pounds. Of course you want to train this way. You don't have to show that you're not as strong as, like, it's the machismo bullshit, right?
Yeah.
And back in the day, I chased the big back squat. I squatted double the body weight. I deadlifted almost 3x, and it was whatever. Who cares what it do for me? What I find interesting is when a guy like you're strong ass guy, explosive guy, good engine, you're demonstrating the ability to move heavy weights fast over and over and over again in a way that will directly tie into real life. People don't know how to move heavy weight with a fluid brace, right? It's lock your spine in place and then move it. What made you comfortable you weren't going to hurt yourself just lifting heavy shit that way?
It's just getting used to how it feels, because it's also fear too. Like, even with like lifting heavy weight or going for a PR, your mind starts playing tricks where your mind starts like fucking you in a sense. Even today, like when I was with Wes, like we were double cleaning, 176, 200-pound kettlebells. Like I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, all right, shit, like I've never done it before, but like I'm like psyching myself out. I'm like, no, I just got to brace, keep my form right, and just go for it.
So 200 pounds in each hand.
No, single hand.
Okay.
Single hand. So we went for singles. We couldn't do the 200, but we got the 176. But even then, like you said, it's moving weight for repetitions and also going to the bench, then going to the sled, then doing an 8 cal, 10 cal ski. Because like we're strong, but best believe we can still move at that pace. And from what you just said, that's totally right, because I feel like nowadays with people with the gyms or even with athletes like in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, you have to keep that pace when you're wrestling, when you're shooting, when you're playing guard. And most of the time with guys in the gym, they'll do one rep, they'll chill for 10, 15 minutes, do another rep, chill 10, 15 minutes. And, like it's okay, but to me, you're not in shape. I'm sorry. Like if you can only do one rep or you can't do like a whole set and you're not gasping for air, I'm sorry, you're just not in shape. That's just me. But I got comfortable with moving heavy weight because I just did it over and over and over and over again. And I can walk into any gym, any training room and be like, all right, I know what I'm doing. I'm ready to go at my own pace. I don't have an ego. If I can't lift something, I won't lift it, but I'll try it.
Do you think your conventional strength background helped you in this?
I'd say yeah, because it built my body up to do it. Like if I was like, 150 pounds soaking wet, never lifted a weight before in my life, and I'm trying to pick up a 100-pound sandbag, yeah, like that physical exertion I would not be used to. But the fact that I did jiu-jitsu, I did Muay Thai, I did, benching, squatting, deadlift, all those weights. Yeah, I think it definitely transferred over to that, but I think the unconventional ways and what I do now increased my conventional lifts by far. I was never able to deadlift over 5 plates on a hex bar. I was never able to honestly bench 225 because my bench is shit. Even squat, like I was never able to squat, 405 without a spot, like, or at least like be comfortable to get underneath the bar, because it also stems from your mind too. Forget the body. You also have to think about the nervous system and your mind, and you have to get that shit acquainted with what you're about to do, because the physical can do it, but your mind has to be into it as well.
Go into that. What do you mean by that?
So say if so in January, I pulled my back on my 7th rep of deadlifting, right, on 600. I tilted too much to my right, boom, SI joint, blew out. I was all right after 2 weeks, but now every time I deadlift, I'm not hitting 600 for 7 reps, but I had that in my head where it's like, oh my God, like every time I hit that 6 plates, I want to do it for 7. But I fucked myself up on that. So now if I get 1, I'm okay. But there are times where I'm looking at the weight and I'm like, I might get hurt again. So my mind starts playing tricks on me. I start bugging the fuck out, and my mind isn't into it. So if my head isn't into it, I know my body can do it because it's done it multiple times. But if my head isn't into it, then I'm not going to do it, or I'm not going to get the full power strength that I could do and become in that sense. So
what you're describing is, you know who Tony Blauer is?
No.
So Tony Blauer he owns, I think his company is called Spear, but his technique is called Spear. Basically, he teaches martial arts and self-defense to military, police, and everyday people. The idea is, first thing he teaches is if the best self-defense is getting away from the fight, and the second one is to be the person who flinches in the proper way first. And that's his Spear technique. Anyway, one of the things he talked about is if you're going to get into a fight and you're trying to avoid getting beat up, you're screwed. If you're going to you got to think about how you're going to end the fight and then move on. What you're describing right now is when I lock up to 600 pounds, I'm trying to avoid getting beat up by it. So how do you overcome that?
I think the best way is just to try it and just do it. Even in a fight, like, I've done jiu-jitsu so many times. Like if I got into a street fight and, I don't have any option to run, what am I going to do? I'm going to let the guy fucking punch me in the face? No. Am I going to let him take me down? No. Am I going to let him mount me and choke me out? No. You got to face it. You got to face the person. You got to face the fear. And whether it's a 600-pound bar or it's a guy who's bigger and stronger than you, whether you're a purple belt in jiu-jitsu and you're up against a black belt in the absolute division in no-gi, you got to just face it head on. And that's something that a lot of people nowadays don't do. They tend to have that flight rather than that fight with a lot of situations.
How often do you think people should face that?
All the time.
So how often in your training do you face it?
Every day.
What's the last time you faced it in your training? What'd you do?
Today.
What'd you do?
203-pound kettlebell clean. I had it, like the 80 kilogram felt good doing that for 3. And then I'm looking at the 92. I'm just like, fuck, that's a 30-pound fucking jump. I'm like, fuck. So I'm gripping it, right? I get like a high pull. I'm ready to go. I'm ready. I'm like, oh, shit. And honestly, like, it is the weight, but it's also a mental thing too. But how else am I going to find out? I clean it. I get underneath it. I can't hold it though. I use my other hand to support it. To me, it's not a rep, obviously. But I look at it as a plus because I never tried that before. And the fact that I was able to get my elbow underneath and at least get underneath it, it's progress. So
what are you afraid of there?
It's getting hurt, dropping it, tearing my bicep, like dropping it on my foot, fucking around and finding out the wrong way, honestly. Because, after I got hurt in January, I'm just like, I want to be able to move no matter what. But I also want to be strong and I want to go for shit. So it's like not a happy balance, but it's like a brutal balance. You want to get better. You want to face your fears. Are there consequences? Yes. But I feel like as long as you do it smart and you're able-minded to at least attempt it and, kind of hope for the best in a sense, then I think, but sometimes you got to just say fuck it and just go for it and see what happens.
Do you have a 200-pounder at your gym?
Kettlebell, I have 2.
Okay.
I have a 220.
So what have you been doing with it? Just swinging them?
Swings, high pulls. I did goblet squats 2 weeks ago. Deadlifts, farmer's carries. Sometimes like crossover push-ups, you can grip the handle and hop back and forth. It's a bell. It's a big bell, but you can still, even if you're not as strong as me or like all the other guys, you can still use it. Deadlifts, the crossovers, at least holding it just like this, just for however many seconds you can, dropping it, try again, see if you can beat that time.
How do your neighbors feel about you?
Surprisingly, I've never had a complaint. I'll be honest with you. I've never had like a music complaint. I've never had like a noise complaint. There's my neighbor was actually a hairstylist, but she was cool with the music. She didn't care. She left, and now people next door to me, they're like medical supplies, and they're there when I'm really not there. Honestly, like they close at 5, I go back at 5. And even like the neighbors like behind me, like they never had a complaint. So I pray, thank God.
If you ever do, I can walk you through it. That's how I got my walkthrough into business. My first 5 months into being open, I went to CrossFit gym at the time. 5 months in, my next door neighbor sued us for making too much noise. We fought the lawsuit. We won the lawsuit. I was reading the other day about it. I think it was October 17th we found out that we won. And then October 29th or 30th, whatever it was, Hurricane Sandy.
That's sick.
We were out anyway.
That's crazy.
Good times. One of the things that is interesting to me about what you do is it's the kind of thing that attracts killers, for lack of a better way to put it. People who are down to walk in and just throw down.
Yeah.
And it's probably most beneficial for people who are most intimidated by it.
It is. It's just people. I feel like people nowadays, they are, to be blunt, they're just very fucking soft. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest. Like, just people in general, like, they don't even want to work. They don't want to do shit. And a lot of the times people look at my stuff and they'll be so intimidated. But listen, I got CrossFit coaches coming to me, but I also have people in their fucking 60s, dude. I have people in their 60s coming in, deadlifting 176-pound kettlebell, doing calories on an assault bike. My client, Denise, I love her. She's great. Everybody loves her. She's 60 years old. She's never worked out this a day in her life. She walked in on a walk-in. I want to try it out. I said, okay. Am I barbaric and I'm going to tell her to do everything off the bat? No, I give her their little routines. All my other people know what they're doing, and she adapts. And she said to me, Tom, I want to be able to work in with Pooch, with O'Furley, with Ashley, with Jess. I said, okay, so you got to step the fuck up then. And she did. So I feel like with my gym and what I do, I attract killers and I produce killers. But I feel like these days, like, people don't want to feel pain. They don't want to get uncomfortable. They don't want to be on that 5th, 6th round and be like, this sucks. And honestly, I might throw up, but, they'll quit. They'll quit, and most people quit. And with me, like, I do have empathy with my clients and I do have empathy with people. I want people to succeed, but I don't fucking tolerate laziness. I don't tolerate people who walk in and, they're like scared or they're intimidated, because like eventually I can't coddle you for the rest of your fucking life. You can't stick to the same shit. You have to elevate at some point, or else you're wasting your time. You're wasting my time. Why not get better? Why not get stronger? And I had a conversation with David Weck, and he said the same thing. He's like, the thing I want you to take away from this cert is that I want you to get stronger. And he sat me down. He's like, why wouldn't you want to clean 200 pounds? Why wouldn't you want to lift up your 400-pound sandbag? I'm like, you know what? You're right. So why not go for it? But yeah.
I have so many questions to ask off of that. When I first started coaching CrossFit, when I opened my first CrossFit in 2011, November, back then, the way I looked at CrossFit is it was what you are today, right? There was nothing more scary, more badass, more intense than that back in 2011. And then that's kind of softened, which I think is part of its problem, actually. And I feel like what you're doing is the next wave of what that was. It's to me, it's cooler to watch. It's cooler to do. I feel stronger in the street when I train that way than I did when I was doing barbell cleans and that kind of stuff. How hard is it for you to be able to explain to people what it is that you're doing when they're watching and thinking about coming in? I remember people saying to me, what's Crossfire? I'm like, that's a game you play when you were a kid in the 90s. This is CrossFit, which is an exercise. It's a methodology. I imagine people come to you and they're like, so how does it work? And you're like,
I had a guy come in and he said, there's only one bench in here. I go, bro, what? I go, do you not see everything else that I have? He's like, what are you doing here? And when people like that come in, I show them. Like, I'll take time out. Like, I'll show them kettlebell cleans. I'll show them steel club casts. I'll show them the landmine, the sandbags. And I say to them, like, you have to just experience it to see, because it may look easy, because some guys have said that to me. Oh, it may look easy. I've had a lot of guys say that, oh, it looks easy. But meanwhile, these guys can't pick up a 100-pound sandbag and carry it. Oh, my back. Oh, my God, I can't do this. Oh, my God. I've really had guys do that. So that's why, like...
By the way, you swing really well New York, both sides of New York. You have the New York accent that's present and here and intense, and the New York accent that's...
Yeah.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. So yeah, like I've had guys like that where they gloat. Yeah, I can deadlift fucking 500 pounds, but they can't even pick up a bag and carry it. You know what I mean? So, and I show them, I'm like, or even then, like if somebody comes in the gym, like, yo, pick up that sandbag. What is it? 50 pounds. Okay. They pick it up. They're like, what the hell? I'm like, yeah, it's tough, right? All right, so pick up the next one. Pick up the next one. And I'll show them videos of me doing my 200-300 pounds. So basically just showing people, or just have them feel it. Like, just feel how this type of training is. Because in a sense, what you've been saying, it's primal in a nature. Picking things up, carrying them, throwing things, swinging things, right?
Well, I think it's the next evolution of intense strength training.
Okay.
I see things moving in that direction. I've been training like I don't even mix in the conventional lifts anymore. I can't remember the last time that I threw a barbell on my back and squatted it. But I have a 150-pound sandbag in my garage that I'll go pick up almost every week just to make sure I can still pick it up, throw it around, and then get some kind of a cardio interval. Typically, I like to hit my heavy bag and mix with that, not hit the bike. But the point being, I think everything moves in this direction. I think in 10 years, people are wondering, why were we ever putting so much emphasis on the barbell in the first place anyway? So when someone comes to you, what are they saying? Why are they coming in the first place? Because they obviously are a little bit more in the know. They're either in the know or completely oblivious to what they're walking into, would be my guess.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah, it's like half and half. It's like people will come in like, oh, I want to change up my routine. Or, oh, I've seen this place, but I've been too afraid to walk in, but I finally grew the balls to walk in. And some people are curious, and some people, they come and they never come back. It is what it is, But a lot of the times people, they don't want to learn new things. So that's why the barbell is prevalent so much, because a lot of, let's take, the guys, for example, they're so used to taking a barbell to squatting, to bench, and to deadlift. Meanwhile, a sandbag pickup, it's pretty much the same thing as a fucking deadlift. A sandbag squat, front squats, you can even load it up on your shoulder. It's not like a barbell squat, but it mimics it. You can go on the floor. You can do sandbag presses. Even with just using a sandbag, there's so much more you can do. But I feel like a lot of the times people are very set on, using a barbell. Even with Landmine University, right? A lot of times with people with the Landmine, what are they doing? Regular presses, regular T-bar rows.
Static spine, just stand and press.
Yeah, stand and press, whatever. Squat press, etc. But when you take Landmine U, the coiling, the spinal engine, the clean and press, the footwork, the explosiveness, the Landmine snatches, people look at that, they're like, oh my God, that's too much. That's too intimidating. What if I drop the bar on my head? Oh my God. But it's just like, listen, if you were able to learn and get your head out of your fucking ass and learn new shit, then you never know how good it could be. And that's with me. Like, I'm always a student. I'm always teachable. I was doing jiu-jitsu. I learned from everybody. When I went to Texas, when I met Jason Soulfit, shout out to Jay, he taught me kettlebell flow. I learned his routines. He gave me insight. And I took that back to New York. So I feel like a lot of the times people, they're too stuck in their ways and they don't want to learn something new. I mean, it's okay. But at some point, if you're getting lazy or you don't have the same intensity as you do and you're not making progress, maybe you got to switch something up. Maybe you shouldn't be giving a hard time to the guys who do this stuff, and at least give it a shot, give it a try. You don't like it? All right, cool. Go back to your shit.
I think there's some ego in it too.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So the ego being like, if I can deadlift 400 pounds and I weigh 155 pounds, and now you have me try to pick up a 150-pound sandbag and I can't get it to my shoulder. Well, telling someone I deadlift 400 pounds sounds way better than I picked up a 100-pound sandbag. Right? Because your boy can imagine what a 100-pound sandbag is without ever having done it, without ever having to round their back, get their chest down to the ground, hug the thing, bring it up high enough to squat underneath it, all of the technique that goes with it. They just think about grabbing a symmetrically loaded object that their hand fits nicely around, that moves around them as they move. And now when you go tell your boy 100-pound sandbag, they're like, that's nothing. What do you like? So I think there's a lot of ego in it too, or even a double front kettlebell squat. If I can front rack squat a 70-pound in each hand, that's a 140-pound front squat. It's hard to hold those kettlebells in that position. A 140-pound front squat with a barbell is like warm-up weight. So I think there's a lot of ego involved there also.
Also, even with like jiu-jitsu, there's two guys in jiu-jitsu, the guys that walk in, right? There's two types of people. The first person, they get fucked up, manhandled. They're both getting fucked up, but the first one gets fucked up, manhandled, emasculated in front of everybody. It could be against a girl, could be against a guy that's 50 pounds lighter than him. And I'm the first guy. I said to myself, I'm like, holy shit, this is what I need to be doing. I just got emasculated in front of everybody. I go, this is the shit. I need to do this. My ego went out the door and I learned. And I was like, this is it. I need to do this. This is cool. I need to figure this out. I need to be one of these people. The second person is a guy or a girl who gets emasculated in front of everybody and just loses their mind. Oh my God, like I don't understand how he did this. I don't understand how he fucked me up like this, or she did. This is bullshit. There's something around it. This is fake. You know what? I don't want to do this. They'll walk out the door. So there's always two types of people, no matter what, with physicality, whether it's fighting, lifting weights, whatever. Because even with ego, right? Ego lifting, every guy has done it at some point. Mm-hmm. If I were to go into my gym, even then, if I didn't do what I did now, the mindset that I have, I could deadlift 700 pounds on a straight bar. I can't. I'm just saying hypothetically. If I can deadlift that, but if I go into my boy's gym and I can't pick up a 90-pound sandbag and carry it, I'd be like, oh shit, like, interesting. You know what? This is something that I'm not good at. This is something that I want to learn, and let me get better at it. Maybe it'll transfer over to, my other lifting, or maybe it'll transfer over to my conditioning, or maybe it'll reveal your imbalances and the shit that you need to work on. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the times people shy away from that. The challenge, the ego, somebody being better than them, somebody being stronger than them looking like a fool. But even then, when guys come into my gym like that, I'm not trying to make them a fool. I'm trying to show them what I do. And hey, listen, this could be, this could light the fire under your ass to at least get after it a little bit more, instead of just doing your barbell sets and just not even breaking a sweat,
So how do you help the type 2 person, the one who gets their ass kicked and then says, I don't want to get my ass kicked, so I'm leaving? And then they can say whatever they want after that. It doesn't work. It's nonsense, whatever. How do you help that person become the type 1 person who has the mindset of, I'm looking for things to kick my ass because that's where I improve?
Mm-hmm. I guess it depends. There are some types of people that no matter what you do, they'll always be stuck in their ways. But if I had a person like that come in and really kind of beat themselves up over it, I would give them at least a little bit of empathy, no matter who it is. I'd be like, listen, who gives a shit that you got emasculated? Who cares if you can't do it? I couldn't do it at some point. I couldn't lift my fucking 300-pound bag. I could not, double rack clean, double 106-pound bells and squat it. There's no way. But I was able to build up to that. So at some point, you have to look at that person and give them a little bit of empathy. And now how they take it and how they react, that's on them. If you show people that empathy, that kindness, and they still are stuck in their ways, blur out at you, I'd be like, all right, whatever. Sayonara. Go ahead. Go and do your shit. And then maybe 3 months down the line, hey, you know what? I remember what Tom told me. You know what? Let me give it another shot. Let me go back. So I feel like it depends on the type of person and their mentality. So they could literally just hear my words and come right back the next day, or they could, just never come back at all.
Do you think people feel comfortable coming back to you after? So I want you to think about this personally, right? They walk away. They're like, I'm not going to do that, whatever their reason is. How often do you think they feel comfortable coming back and saying, Tom, I gave this thought. I made a mistake 3 months ago. I want to try it again.
I think for right now, personally, I think 100% of the time, because I never, ever make somebody feel like bad or like down on what they should. Like, I always give people empathy no matter what. I always show people love. Like, even if they can't do it, I encourage them. I've never had a time where, I literally emasculate someone on purpose. The only time I would ever do that is if somebody comes at me. And the way I work is that, listen, you attack me, I'm going to attack you. That's just how it is. That's just how I am. But for the most part, people have not done that. Yeah, I've had a couple of dickheads come in and try to tell me what to do. I said, all right, go ahead. You don't want to do it the way I showed you? Go ahead. Go fuck it up. Go get yourself hurt. Whatever. And of course, they can't do it. And then they feel a type of way. They feel butthurt. And then they fucking leave. But I think for the most part, though, with me, like, even if I had somebody who, like, I don't typically hold grudges. Like, if somebody came to me, if they were an asshole and they came to me, even this was anything with life. Like, if they were to hit me up and like really apologize, like, hey, listen, I'm sorry for coming in the gym. I'm sorry for trying to tell you what to do. I'm sorry for being a dick. Can I give it another shot? I will always let them in, because life's too short. And, if somebody comes to me and they need help, or I can kind of tell that they need the help. They don't want to admit it, but they need the help. And I think physical fitness and training it goes more than just getting people in shape. It gets more into people building them up mentally, building that confidence to even just walk through a door and to even admit that they're fucking wrong. So I think most of the time, yeah.
Well, I think what you just described there is what makes what you do and the way that you train more similar to a martial art than maybe traditional training.
That's my roots, man. That's my roots. My roots. I will, no matter what, I may not train jiu-jitsu or do anything now, but I will always love martial arts, fighting. It's just more spiritual. It's more like even with your training partners, it's more like close. There's more of a bond. You feel like brothers, you know, because you guys are dying together. You're fighting each other just to get better. So, yeah.
Well, what I see in your training is I'm not going to walk into a commercial gym environment and ever work as hard as I will in your space. I won't even do that in a CrossFit gym because the implements just don't allow for it. And anyone who's ever done any kind of sparring, I don't care how fit you are the first day that you go in, you're like, I don't have cardio for that. And it doesn't make any sense because you're like, I've tried everything I can possibly do to tax my cardio, and my cardio is good. Then I go into spar, 30 seconds in, I'm cotton-mouthed, I can't swallow, I'm breathing heavy, and I'm scared. Like that's the first 30 seconds of your first sparring round. Yeah. I feel like walking into your space is going to give people a similar feeling. Am I right about that?
I agree. Yeah.
Why is that, you think?
It fights back, right? So when you're fighting somebody, when you're sparring, it fights back. Somebody's fighting back against you, right? And I think in unconventional ways, even with sandbags, it fights back. You pick it up, right? You load it on your shoulder. You feel that compression. You feel like your body like, oh my God, I got to rotate. Like that thing fights back. You pick it up. It's going to drop to the floor. It's like, nope, you're not picking me up. Kettlebell swings, right? Heavy swings. That's momentum. It's fighting back against you. You swing it up, it's coming back down. You swing it up, it's coming back down. Similar in wrestling, right? If I shoot and I miss, that's a lot of exertion. And this guy's going to shoot back at me too. So if I get it, all right, cool. I got to secure my position. But if he gets back up, fuck, I got to do it again. I got to keep exerting, right? So in the regular gyms, you know, certain things, they're not really going to fight back and you're not really going to get that same basic like intensity or stress on you. So with my stuff, it's just intense and it fights back. When something fights back, like what we were talking about before, either you got to face it or you got to figure it out.
I think when you say it fights back, what my experience with this kind of training is that it fights back in an unpredictable way. So like if I load a barbell on my back or my front or from the floor, I know exactly the line it's going to resist me in. So I can put myself into the best leverage position to oppose that downward force. If I'm picking a sandbag up that weighs as much as me or more, depending on where it is, depending on what part of the movement I'm in, it's going to pull me in a different direction. And if I clean it to my shoulder and I don't get it all the way up, it's going to pull me further forward than I'm used to. Now I got to quickly jump underneath it, pick it, all those little micro adjustments that you need to make. That's the fighting that I think you're describing. Would you?
I agree.
Okay. So one of the things I imagine must be extremely difficult for you is teaching somebody else to teach this so that you don't have to be the only person in the gym doing it.
I think for the most part right now, my people that I have, and shout out to everybody at my gym, I love them. John Pooch, O'Furley, Kat, Ashley, literally everybody that I have in that gym, Ewell, I love all you guys. They all do everything perfectly. They know how to do it. They know how to do everything. And I think at some point, though, it comes with me with certain people is that they don't want to do stuff if it's not from me. Because people get attached. People get, they build a bond with people.
You mean members?
Members, yeah. People get it, they like how you are in a sense. Like, I have people that come to me that literally strictly just work out with me. They don't want to do classes. They don't want to do privates. They're like, Tom, you're working out at 8? Okay, I'm there at 8. Tom, you want to work out at 5 in the morning? Okay, I'm there at 5. So I think, though, it's very easy, though, for people to teach other people because it's just, as long as they're getting the techniques down, even with like kettlebell swings, loading up your hips, the hinge, your legs, landmine university, where to put your elbows, where to put your feet. I think for the most part, though, that's pretty easy. But I think sometimes people, they're just not, the cognitive delay, sometimes it's not there. So it takes a little bit for them to a little bit of time for them to really learn. But I think for the most part, though, with my stuff, that people just like how I do it, right? If I went away on vacation and I have somebody coaching the class, odds are a couple people aren't going to come. Oh, Tom's not there. All right, I'll take a day off, you know? But I mean, it's okay. It's just,
well, I think you have a magnetism to you, right? So what I would describe, like the way I feel you in the room right now, I sit across from a lot of people. I feel your intensity. I feel your intention. I feel like you're a guy who's not going to be bullshitted. And there are people who really, really like that. It's infectious to be around. And so what happens is, I imagine there are people who come when you train who want your respect, because earning the respect from somebody like you is something that for people is like, oh, well, Tom sniffs bullshit out from a mile away. He's not going to listen to that nonsense. He listens to me. I'm not nonsense. What are your thoughts on that?
I never really thought of it like that, honestly. Like sometimes anytime I train, like when I train, I don't think about anything else. So I'm just like in my zone. I'm doing in my head, like thinking about all the shit that I'm dealing with mentally, emotionally, like my emotions come out. And, I literally just want to dig deep and kind of suffer in a way. It's kind of dark. Like, I'm vulnerable. Like I don't give a shit. But, when I train, I really dig into my emotions and I think about the things that I've been through and the things that I need to work on as an individual, like personally. And I use it as fuel rather than using it for bad shit. I could be an alcoholic, I could be a drug addict, whatever, but I use it towards the gym. It's kind of dark, it's a little fucked up, but it works for me.
It's the real thing.
Yeah.
And I think that I want to hear, if it's okay with you, I want to ask you more questions about it.
Yeah, sure.
Because this is the stuff like we talk about. Someone comes to you with a shoulder injury and they want help with it and you're their trainer. They're not coming to you for a shoulder injury. They're coming to you because they're afraid of losing a part of themselves.
Yeah.
And if you don't get to that, dark material, what ends up happening is you end up being a technician who helps their shoulder feel better, but never helps them reclaim the thing they've been afraid to. And now they're a shell of themselves. Now they walk around without the confidence that they came to you to reclaim. So what's an example of something that you've worked through in your mind while you've been training?
One of my deepest, darkest times, but I was suicidal when I was 12. And
12.
I was 12 years old. Yeah. I used to be bullied. I used to be told that, oh, like my teeth was fucked up. Oh, my hair. Oh, how I dress, whatever. And, I'm a young kid. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know shit back then. I'm 12 fucking years old. I put a knife to my throat and, I was in my basement and actually my dog, my little Rocky, my pit bull, may he rest in peace, he passed away. He actually went up to the knife and stopped me and put it down. I swear to God, it's a real thing. And after that, I'm like, holy shit. So then progressively, as I got older and as I figured things out, do I still stem on that? A little bit, because I kind of remember why I started doing what I did in the first place, to prove people wrong, to look better than people, to be stronger than people. That's when I was young. That's when I was young and immature. Now, as I'm older and I see that my energy with what you were saying, which is, I actually never thought of it like that people want that validation from me and how intense I am. They want to match that. It's more of an empathetic sense, but I always look at the things that I've been through and the darkness and all the stuff, but I use it as fuel. I've accepted it. I've accepted the fact that I was depressed, that I did have anxiety, that I almost took my own life, that I almost slit my own throat. Like, I use that. And it gets emotional, but at the end of the day, though, like what you were saying, it's like I use that darkness and I use that as fuel towards what I have to do. So every time I work out and every time I train, it's very, it becomes dark. And O'Furley was talking to his dad, and he was showing him a video of me training, and he could see it in my eyes, right? The intensity, the passion. And O'Furley's dad, he's like, you know what that is? He's like, that's a fucking man right there. He's like, he's not trained for his body. He's not trained to get girls. He's training for life. He's like, I could see it in his eyes. And I got the chills after he told me that. So it's a very powerful thing. And that's why I'm very stemmed into physical fitness and working out, because, it's the corny to say, everybody says it, but it really did save myself and my life.
So do you feel like that part of you is way in the rearview mirror?
Like right now, sitting in this room, I would say so, yeah. I definitely still kind of like think about it in a sense. I kind of like reflect a lot on it, but yeah, I would say so.
The reason I'm asking, I was speaking to a guy this weekend who part of his story is that he climbed onto the edge of a bridge and contemplated it, decided not to, ended up going into psychedelic therapy for himself. Like he has since seen someone who does it with him, and And I asked him, I'm like, do you ever fear that if the thing that you cling to right now was out of your life for a period of time for whatever reason, that you would fall back into that? And he was like, for him it was no, because since then he felt lonely. He felt like he didn't have any value to people. Now he's got a wife he loves, a kid he loves, and he realizes that it was always all about him, and it's never been about him. And that's whatever goes on, he feels like he's past it. And I'm curious if you feel similarly.
If I had taken away everything that training is, and if I wasn't able to move myself, honestly, no, I would still be able to live my life because I could give that gift to somebody else. Mm-hmm. I could give that gift of me being strong as fuck and me learning my ways and how I am embodiment, and I could kind of morph that into somebody. I could teach that to other people. So even then, if I'm in a wheelchair, or if like how I got hurt in January, I thought I fucking herniated my disc and I was fucked. If I was in a wheelchair and I wasn't able to do anything, I mean, no, I would still have passion in teaching what I know and that intensity to other people. And what's funny is that on my way to the city, I was on YouTube listening to a podcast, and Stephen Hawking came up, and it was I forgot what movie it was, but it was him in his chair, and he dropped a pencil, right? And somebody dropped the pencil, and he got up to go and pick it up, but that was in his mind. Scene cut out. He was in his chair talking through his monitor. So I feel like that, in a sense, I would always have that in my head. I would always think like, damn, I want to pick up that sandbag. Damn, I want to clean that kettlebell. Like, I would probably be miserable inside, but I would feel better knowing that, you know what, I can give this gift to other people. Mm-hmm. And I think life really happens when you learn that you can help other people. You can really give and really just, take people out of dark places.
Yeah. I spoke at an event this past week, and in one of the Q&As after a different speaker spoke, Tom Bilyeu. Okay. Guy who sold Quest bars for $1 billion. This guy asks
money.
Him, yeah, good money. Decent payday. This guy asks him, he's like, look, I've conquered all of the villains, right? Like, I've conquered all the big bosses. I did $1 million a year. How do you stay motivated after you've done all of that? And what was interesting is, like, I remember feeling the same way. And then you realize, like, oh, you haven't even met a boss yet, right? Like, you're not even close. But Tom said to him, and I thought it was really smart, and it's the truth. He's like, the reason you feel like you have to figure out what to do next is because you're doing it for you. Once you start realizing that the real value that you have is to do it for other people, there's always another boss. And I think you said that really well. And I want to give you a testimony. I haven't come to your gym yet, and I feel like I need to, because I need someone around me who doesn't care who I am to just help me beat the inner bitch out of myself. And there's always some of that that's still in there. Like, I like to think that it's dead, but there's still some of that in there, especially in the gym. I don't want to work that hard anymore. So I need someone to be like, get back down, pick that up, do that again. I'll tell you a funny story before you leave. But the people who I know who have worked with you, Justin, Kate, Jack, Sam, all of them have reverence for your ability to coach. It's obvious when I look at your Instagram account, you have ability to do. Mm-hmm. They all came back thinking that you were respectful, that you were professional in the way that you coached them, that you gave them the time that was necessary, that you were not judgmental of them when they were failing at things, that you were helpful at helping them do it better. How do you toggle that switch from dark place, pick up that 350-pound bag, put it on your shoulder, fuck that voice, to, I understand why you're struggling with that. Try it like this.
If I wasn't able, let's put it this way, if I wasn't able to turn off the dark voice, would I be making money?
No, of course
exactly.
Not. But that doesn't mean that you have to be able to do it.
It's not all about money, but it gets to a point where it's like, I also have to turn that stuff off. And sometimes, like, I'll be honest, I have a hard time. Like, even sometimes when I'm training, like, if people complain or, it's like this and that, like, I just tell them, listen, like, shut the fuck up and just let me work out. Like, please, I told you that if you come here and work out with me, this isn't going to be like that. But outside of it, like, for the most part, yeah, I always understand that, like I said, it's empathy. It's coaching people. I have to be able to, turn that off and teach people even when I'm working out. Like there are times I have to step back. All right, you know what? I want to do my set, but you know what? Obviously I don't want people getting hurt. I want people to have a good, have a good experience when they come to me. So I have to shut it off a little bit. Okay, here's how you do a kettlebell swing. Here's how you do your landmine clean. Or obviously when I'm coaching, that's my job. That's my main task. So it kind of differs. I feel like everybody at this point, like who knows me or has been taught by me, they have worked out with me before. And I always invite people to come train with me because I want people to feel that energy. I want people to know that, listen, if you want to come, it's going to be hard, but you're welcome to come in with me. It's not going to be easy. I may be a dick, but it's just how it is. So I think for the most part though, if I wasn't good at it, I would not be getting a lot of good feedback from everybody. So thank you to everybody who does say that good stuff about me. It's just like a balance. And listen, I'm not perfect. Like sometimes I fuck up. Sometimes I'm an asshole. Sometimes I don't want to, when I'm doing my set, I just want to focus on my shit. But I also have to take a step back. Like, all right, yeah, these people are coming to me. These people want to learn from me. These people want to, be in my presence and to learn. So I got to toggle it back and forth. Yeah.
Pat Damiano.
Pat, I love you, Pat. Pat, I just posted it on my story. He hit me up. He's like, yo, let's go. I love Pat.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I know Pat since he's like 20.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So he told me to ask you, how do you do this every day? Because you don't, from what I've seen, you don't have low intensity days.
No. It just stems back to the mentality, man. I'll be honest with you. It just stems down to emotions, mentality, and like my body for the most part, like, it's good. Like I don't have any crazy injuries. Like, yeah, I have some like my left bicep, my left shoulder, like my rack with the kettlebell, my presses, like it hurts. Like I get like a sharp pain, like from my bicep to my shoulder, but I work around it, whatever. Like I'm not perfect. Like, I've had injuries. I have some nits and shit here and there, but honestly, like, being as vulnerable as I can right now and being truthful, it's really just like mentality and staying sane. Like, I'll be honest, like it's therapy. It keeps me grounded because I exert myself so much every morning and every day that I don't stress too much about the things that are going on in my life, whether it's personal, financially, business, anything. Like I try to just ground myself, physically exert myself to the point where, I go into that place and I'm just so tired that I'm just like, okay, take a breath, relax, and just do it that way. But also, I also want to show people that, yo, guys, like everybody, Pat, Keanu, Rain, all the guys that are doing the things that I'm doing and all this shit, like, yo, we're all working, we're all doing this. Let's build up the intensity. Let's keep that shit going. Because when I train with you guys, I want to get after. I want to train with you guys. You're my homies. I want to push you guys, and I want you guys to push me. So it's kind of like a mix of me getting really involved with my emotions and me just staying sane. But also it's like, yo, guys, I'm up and at it every day. I need you guys with me. I want you guys to fucking do it with me. Let's go. Keep up. Come on. Get your shit together. Wake up. So
my favorite content that you put out is there's two things. When you're cleaning your gym.
Because a lot of people talk shit. Fuck you guys.
What do they talk?
They say I don't clean my gym. And my gym is as clean as can be. And people are like, oh my God, there's chalk on the floor. And that pisses me off because it deters people from coming to me. But also when I'm very passionate at what I do in my fucking livelihood and I bust my ass to clean it and I have my two little guys, John and Jacob, helping me clean it, it pisses me off. But it is what it is. People are constantly going to run their mouths. But that's just to show people like, hey, listen, I do clean my gym. There's no bugs. There's no infections. There's nothing there. So that's just me being a dick.
You want a business tip on that?
Huh?
You want a business tip
Sure.
on that? Do you clean at the same time every day?
Yeah, for the most part, we mop every night, and we in the afternoon I kind of wipe down the shelves. John and Jacob, they'll wipe everything down when they come to class. Yeah.
Video it and post it in your story every day. So, because I have a buddy who I was talking to about this, and he always cleans his gym every day. But it's a chalky gym. Like no matter how clean you get it, someone's gonna sweat when they work out.
Exactly.
There. So it's gonna feel dirty for the next group. I told him, I'm like, bro, just every day at 11 a.m. when you clean, just film yourself, even if it's for 5 seconds pushing the floor scrubber, and just say it's 11 a.m. You know what time it is, and people will see you in different outfits cleaning your gym every day. He did that for like 4 months. People started coming to him.
Really?
Because they were like, hey, I see that you clean your gym every day, And I'm just tired of fucking getting dog hair in my mouth when I train at the gym I'm at. Or I'm tired of going down to the ground and coming up with black hands and my white shirt's black. They don't come because you clean it. They come because they had a dirty experience somewhere else and they saw that you clean your place.
Okay.
And it stays in the back of their mind.
Interesting.
And if people are giving you shit about that, just show them every day.
Yeah.
Yo, it's cleaning time.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
The other thing I know that you do is seminars. Right, so you're heading down to Austin. When is that one?
That is May 21st at Collective North.
So people will be able to listen to this before they're able to go to that podcast. Will registration still be open? That's the first question.
Yes, registration will still be open. It is April 18th. Yes, so registration will be open until it sells out.
Okay, so make sure you share that link with me. We'll put it in
Thank you, man.
the show notes so they can enroll if they want.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What are they going to learn when they come to a seminar with you?
So there's actually that seminar, and then there's another one with my friend Alex, Kettlebell Gains, I believe May 6th. That is happening at the Live Well company in Tribeca. Basically, I teach landmines, Landmine University, Landmine U, and basically how Alex teaches it in his forms and everything that he does. But also, I'm very patient with people. I take my time with everything, and I put people on the spot. So if you come to one of my workshops, you will be put on the spot because I will see if you're listening. I'll see if you're awake. I'll see if you're paying attention because you're going to have to do it in front of 25 people. So, yeah.
But it's for the athlete, not for the coach, yes?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So what should somebody want to get out of it if they're going to come?
You should want to get out of, for me, something that you can use to work out more intensely and to get stronger and to use for your own training. So whenever you're coming to my seminars or to my workshops, I want you to come in with a head like, all right, Tom said I should be able to be using this in my own training, or I should be able to do this, in my program into what I do. Whether I teach kettlebells, landmines, sandbags, whatever it is, I want people not to just come to my workshops and just learn something new and then they forget about it. Learn it, drill it in your head. I will drill it in your head. You will be put on the spot to see if you know how to do it, and use it for your own training because I use it and it's helped me and also my clients, everybody. Cleaning, pressing landmines, sandbags, use it. Use what you learn. Take it to the extreme. Take what you learn from me to the extreme.
What I find really endearing about you is that you take all of that credit that could come right into you, right? Like, oh, I studied YouTube. I followed Instagram. And you did. And then you throw it right back out at the people who you learn from. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a sign of strength, right? Being able to say, I use Landmine University stuff, Alex Kanellis. I went to a David Weck seminar and learned from David Weck. A lot of people want to be able to sound as if they came up with it, right? Like, oh, I created this thing. And I think I want to just compliment you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Because it's the kind of thing that I think it takes a strong, confident person to be able to say, I didn't make any of this shit up. I learned it from other people, and this is who they are. If you want to learn how to be more like me, you can learn from me. You should also be learning from them. I think that's a sign of confidence, and I respect it.
Did any of these kettlebell people create a kettlebell? Did they ever invent it? No. Did anybody ever invent a barbell?
Someone did.
But
right.
did everybody invent it?
No,
exactly. So yeah, I'm very humble, man. I even if I had like 1 million followers on Instagram, even if I was the most known fucking landmine guy or sandbag guy, I'm always gonna be in that regard as respectful because I enjoy being authentic. I enjoy being real, and I don't fake around or deal with bullshit. I don't want people to bullshit me, and I'm not going to bullshit people. And there are often times where, even with Instagram and social media, people are bullshitted constantly all the time. And that's how these people make money. But also with me, like I said, even with Alex's Landmine U system, I'm not going to say that I created it. When I go and do my workshops, I teach it the same exact way he did it. Mm-hmm. I did not create this. I did not figure out the coiling method that Weck did and Chris Chamberlain did. Shout out to Chris. I love him. I want to be as strong as him one day. I learn from them, and that's something that I can give to people if they're not in Chris, Alex's, or David's, presence. Even with Jason, Soul Fit, he taught me how to do kettlebell flow. I was very against doing kettlebell flow before because I didn't think it was challenging or I didn't think it was good. But when I did it and I learned the movements, it was, 1, a lot of fun, but 2, challenging. I never sweated like that before in my fucking life. Doing a figure 8, doing a side snatch, doing a windmill. So I like to give credit where it's due because then it brings people to them, but also it brings people to me. It's like, hey, listen, like I'm not in Texas where Jason is, but there's Wes in the city who's at Dog Pound who can teach kettlebell flow. There's me in the island that could teach kettlebells. There's Jahala. There's Kettlebell Gains, Alex, Colin in Brooklyn. There's so many good people in here in New York that people can learn from. So, you know, and that's what makes the world go round. Because even with me, recently I've been collaborating with a lot of people, obviously with Rain and Keanu and Alex doing workshops. I'm making more money. I'm making more notice. People are getting to know me. People be like, yo, you've been around for 3 years? I'd be like, yeah. They're like, holy shit. I didn't know you were around until I saw you on Wes or Jason's Instagram. It's not a selfish thing. It's just you put out good things into the universe and it comes back.
Dude, I spoke to a room full of 750 people on Friday. And afterwards, I've never heard of you before. Why not? Fuck. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
It's good because it means there's a lot out there to gain.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, how have I not reached all these people yet? So, do you ever talk to kids?
How old?
Elementary school, middle school, high school?
No, never. High school, yes. I have a couple high school kids, but nothing below like.
I'm not talking about coaching. I'm talking about talking.
Oh,
Mentoring.
like talking? No. Yeah, I would say just regular talking, but nothing like younger. Like the youngest kid, probably 13. Actually, no, I don't even talk to him. I just coach him. The answer is no.
I think it'd be valuable for him.
Yeah.
Because I think you're, I don't know if you would enjoy it or not, but I imagine most of them won't get to the point of putting a knife to their throat. But I imagine there are a lot of kids who feel weak. They feel insecure. They don't know who they are because they're fucking 12, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of 40-year-olds don't know who they are.
Yep.
And having somebody like you in their corner who can actually relate to them, who knows what they're going through, who can share, here's how I overcame this stuff and became who I am today, and you can do this too.
That means a lot, man. Thank you. I've never had somebody say that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you'd be really cool.
Thank you, bro.
You're welcome. Where can people find you, Tom?
So you can find me on Instagram, Tom DeGiuli, DeGiuli. My gym's page is the.strength factory. That's in Baldwin on Long Island. And I mostly post on my regular personal page. I have a couple workshops coming up. And
We'll make sure we put all that stuff in the show notes so people can easily find you.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Tom DeGiuli. Thanks
my
for
man,
coming, bro.
Sean, thank you so much.
My
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Active Life Podcast. Please remember, give us a hand, rate it, review it wherever you listen to shows. We are on a mission to humanize the healthcare industry by professionalizing the fitness industry to empower the individual to live a life unlimited by the way that their body looks, feels, or performs. If you are inspired by that mission and want to jump on the wagon, find us anywhere. Active Life Professional on Instagram, Active Life RX on Instagram. Come to me personally at Dr. Sean Pastuch. We want to welcome you onto the train. We want you to be a part of the mission. We want to offer you the opportunity to pursue this right alongside us. We're inspired by your effort, and we hope to help you in your journey. Turn good.